Destruction. In the real world, not something we really love so much. In video games, on the other hand, it's great. I'm Falcon, and today on gameranx, 25 games that let you cause massive destruction. Number 25, in Spore, you can use a bomb that actually just destroys a planet. Just like that. Gone. The creatively named Planet Buster works by making the planet swell until the crust blows off, and then the molten inside of the planet expands and it becomes, well, a stationary ball of fire. Number 24 is Planetary Annihilation, which is in every way the best title for the game. Now again, you can destroy an entire planet in this game, but you have a lot of choice. You can put engines onto various smaller bodies, for instance an asteroid, a moon, or a small planet, and cause a collision that will either totally destroy or leave such a big hole in it doesn't really matter that there is still planet left. Everyone's gone. The particularly fun thing to do, though, is to take the catalyst, place it on a metal planet, and watch as it transforms into a Death Star that you can go around and just blow everything up with. Number 23 is Command & Conquer Generals, as well as Command & Conquer General 0 Hour, which has an array of super weapons that are all lovingly crafted and animated to give you all these ridiculous shockwaves in which you can blow infantry members straight at the camera if you want. There's lasers you can cut through buildings with, cluster bombs, plasma explosions, and the obligatory nuke, which is, considering the first game came out in 2003, it's still awesome. Number 22 is Battletanx, which looking back at may look a little crude, but this was a 3D game that lets you destroy buildings, vehicles, fences. I mean, just basically everything that you could aim at, you could blow up. And remember, this is 1998 stuff we're looking at here. It had a pretty flimsy plot. 99.99% of women on Earth were infected with the virus and killed, and the few remaining ones are called Queen Lords, and gangs hold them in various places in the world. Don't know that would pass today, but the destruction, oof. To be honest, I didn't even remember the story thing. I looked it up, I'm like, what? I just thought I was blowing stuff up in a tank. Number 21 is Arma 3, more specifically Arma 3 with a nuke mod. Arma 3 is a big ol' open world game that's pretty open-ended and gives you a lot of choices, but once you add that nuke mod, you can literally just level a whole city. The nuked buildings reveal this detail that's not even present in the main game, and there's something haunting about standing somewhere where there was a town and looking around and seeing like the outlines of buildings on the ground. It's haunting and strange, and to think that this has actually happened in real life somewhere is actually kind of terrifying. Luckily, it's just a game. Number 20 is Hulk Ultimate Destruction, which lives up to the phrase Hulk Smash. The idea in this game is that everyone wants to kill you, and also you can throw everything, run through everything, knock down buildings, jump around, grab airplanes out of the air, throw them to the ground. Also, there's so much stuff that you can just grab and turn into a weapon by like breaking it and then swinging it around. Now, it's a PS2 game, so it's not the best looking thing you've ever seen in your entire life, but it really works well. Like picking up a tank and swinging it around to hit everything around you is cool as shit. Honestly, the fact that they haven't made like a new version of this since this game came out is a travesty, because as far as destructible environment games, there's very few games I would desperately want to see on this generation outside of a new version of this. Number 19 is Gary's mod and the nuke mods for it. There's more than one nuke mod in question. G-bomb, H-bomb, and really, what can you do that's more than a nuke, honestly? H-bomb in particular does some pretty amazing stuff. It's pretty much such a big explosion you could go as far away possible in the amount of time it takes, and yeah, pretty much will see it no matter what. There's different kinds of explosions too. You've got your volcano, some nice colorful nukes. And Gary's mod isn't like the most advanced thing you're ever going to play in your entire life, but the nukes are still impressive to this very day. They'll slow down your computer like crazy though. Number 18 is Defcon, a game where you participate in a nuclear war in a kind of vector graphics type map. That's actually a pretty unique RTS. Seeing as you're participating in a nuclear war, you can probably guess what kind of destruction there is, but it's actually a unique perspective on it. You have to imagine this is the kind of thing that the military looks at as there is tactical strikes going on. There's velocities, trajectories, and it actually feels quite detailed. Despite that, you don't really see anything up close. As you progress through the game, the Defcon level raises, and as it raises, you get to blow more shit up. Number 17 is the Crackdown series, which has really done a good job implementing destructive elements to its games, really doing some cool things throughout Crackdown 1 and 2, and keeping Crackdown 3 away from us just far enough out of reach into the future at all times, telling us it's a few months away. Then when we get there, oh no, sorry, gonna have to be next year. Happened again. Look, I'm not saying I want to go destroy the environment around the Microsoft Studios building. I'm not saying that. I am saying that the game is going to need to come out soon to keep me from doing that. I mean, seriously, this is a game that uses innovative techniques to give you total destructive control over the environment around you. And they're like, just wait a little longer. It better come out in spring 2018. That's all I'm saying. I've talked about Crackdown 3 a lot on this channel, and I don't have a lot more to say about it, other than I want to play it. Number 16 is Hearts of Iron, a strategy game that pretty much takes World War II to a much more extreme place. I mean, yes, obviously World War II is automatically pretty extreme. It's the entire world engaged in a war. But what if Japan wasn't the only place a nuke went off? What if you could say that people used nukes willy-nilly? What if you yourself used nukes willy-nilly? Yes, I just want to associate nukes and the phrase willy-nilly. But let's face it, Hearts of Iron is like one of the better strategy games throughout the years, and, well, it's a lot of fun to experiment with. Number 15 is Saints Row 4, which is basically like absurd Grand Theft Auto if you got superpowers. In a lot of ways, it's very similar to the Hulk game I mentioned earlier with a lot more powers. Now, does that mean it is the exact same thing? Not quite. But it is a cool game that you can lift cars up in the air, just blow them up, throw them, cause unending amounts of destruction, and it's all in the name of saving the world from aliens, because that's definitely why I played Saints Row 4. Because of the aliens. That's it. Not the non-stop power trip, throwing cars around and blowing stuff up. Definitely saving the Earth from aliens. Number 14 is Empire Earth 1 and 2, not 3. Just gonna say that right off. Empire Earth 1 and 2 do a great job of allowing you to set up a civilization and then destroy other civilizations with that civilization. Now, that does not sound like the most original concept of all time. However, the first two and the original expansion pack, The Art of Conquest, were very good games. They weren't perfect. They had a lot of little tiny bugs that over time really, I don't know, they got to nagging you, but in a lot of cases you really can't get much better with historical destruction than everything the Roman Empire did to make the Roman Empire, and then the end of it as well. And then the fact that they take on both ancient history and modern history in Empire Earth 2, I don't know, there's a lot of human tragedy to be had. Number 13 is Crysis and Crysis Warhead, some of the original environmental destruction games, or at least some of the original 3D ones. You can't tell me that destroying a tree in these games isn't just fun as hell. And yeah, that's not like wide-scale destruction, but you're more than capable of that as well. And you do it in style, because frankly, these games still look pretty good today. Crysis was a big jump in graphics, and they also gave you a lot of environmental interactivity that really wasn't standard at the time. Plus, if you had a PC that could play it when it came out, I mean, that made you a better person than other people, right? That's how I remember it. Number 12 is Just Cause 3, which let's just go ahead and call a destructive action movie simulator. Yeah, there's a story for Just Cause. Yeah, you can participate in it if you want. But the reason we're playing Just Cause is because we can cinematically destroy things, we can cause huge explosions, we can jump out of planes that then explode themselves. It's basically a Michael Bay movie, except for interactive and without all of the crap that you don't want to see when you watch a Michael Bay movie. It's just the stuff that he knows how to do. And like I said, there's a story, and it's actually better than most Michael Bay movies, but who cares? Number 11 is Earth 2150, a game in which you can basically make it rain nuclear missiles, scorch the earth, blacken the concrete that the structures are made of, watch as the ground turns arid and infertile. I don't know, there's just something about the perspective in this game and how much destruction you can get going at one time that you don't necessarily see up close, but there's so much of it going on at once that you don't need to. It's basically like if a kid who just learned how to draw explosions, so they draw lots of explosions, could draw really well. Plus, it's a fun game. Number 10 is Katamari Damacy, which is easily one of the most bizarre games of all time. And not just because the concept is that you roll a big ball around and destroy everything and take the debris along for the ride, but that's a large portion of it, don't get me wrong. It's just every character and piece of story and moment that you spend inside the game is a heaping helping of absurdism. And I mean that both like the type of humor and philosophically speaking. The search for meaning in Katamari Damacy is not exactly a fruitful search if you indulge in it, but it is easily one of the funnest destruction-oriented games, period. It's one of the most memorable games I've played, and I want to play it again now. Number 9 is Fallout 4 and the various mods that allow you to do different things with the nukes. My personal favorite, the Merv Nuke minigun. Whereas Bethesda came up with the always creative Nuke shotgun, some modder was like, Nuke shotgun, how quaint. And they were like, you should be able to shoot as many nukes as you want at an incredibly high rate. I'll make a mod. That's what I'll do. And it's not just that this causes in-game destruction, it causes destruction of the game. If you go too wild with things, you're going to freeze the game. That's it. You're done playing. I mean, sometimes it'll recover, sometimes it won't, but how can you not love this thing? Number 8 is Civ 5, playing around with a missile cruiser. Oh yeah, if you want to nuke a city out of existence, all you really need is a missile cruiser. And some nukes, obviously, but you just sit there from a comfortable distance and be like, yeah, well, let's irradiate this entire landmass. Oh yeah, you're done. You're done. I mean, you can't do it to a city-state, so it's not like all powerful. But hey, if Gandhi gets too out of hand, you got something you can do, like just end him. I mean, you can't really end him, but in your headcanon you can. Take that, Gandhi, you jerk. And no, I'm not saying that to be ironic. Gandhi was a jerk. I mean, in Civ 5, Gandhi was a jerk. Number 7 is BESIEGE, which is, it's such a good game. It's such a good concept for a game. Basically, you build war machines. The game calls them siege engines, which means like everything from your standard trebuchet to flying machines that rain down fire to rotating saw blades that just cut through troops. It's such a fun physics-based game with some of the coolest looking graphics out there, and despite its simplicity, gets really, really weird and gory sometimes in a great way. Truthfully, I've had so much fun with this game personally, and as someone who normally likes a game to have a narrative, to enjoy something that is just so utterly simplistically brought down to the basic level of medieval destruction plus some steampunk stuff. Seriously, this is just one of those games that I absolutely love. Number 6 is Rampage, which is an absolute classic of a game. You play as a radioactive monster that used to be a human and destroy everything. This is one of the original games that toyed with these kinds of ideas and just absolutely knocks it out of the park. It is such a fun game, and its eventual sequel, Rampage World Tour, reintroduced people to its utterly ridiculous gameplay. I'll probably always love Rampage more than World Tour, but hell, they are both so much fun. Just a joy to play. Stupid games. Like the good kind of stupid. Number 5 is the Mercenaries games, which were these open world games that you could just mess stuff up. Like, these are games that I remember vividly playing and remember no details of the story whatsoever. It just had such a cool method of control and blowing up houses and enemies and just a bunch of other things. I mean, it's just one of those ridiculous games where there is not really a good justification for the game, but they came up with such a fun way of playing, it doesn't matter. Number 4 is Red Faction Guerrilla, and Red Faction 1 for that matter. Now, Red Faction 1 was one of the earlier games that included environmental destruction and did it on a pretty high scale for the time. But Red Faction Guerrilla gave us some of the most amusing environmental destruction. Now, you couldn't necessarily destroy the ground or mountains or things like that, but buildings you could take down. More importantly is how, though. They gave you this particle accelerator thing that just evaporated matter, and truthfully, that was the most possible fun you can imagine. Number 3, Anno 2070, a game that gives you the ability to nuke very dense places. And although I'll say it's not the most flashy nuke mechanic you've ever seen in your life, it does a good job of conveying the weight, oddly enough through the smoke, and the fact that the foliage is just fried. It's brown with these red plumes of smoke coming up from where you nuked. But being it's a city building game on top of that, you've got other things you can unleash. And it's really fun looking at how detailed all of the buildings are in this game, when you know that without any warning, you could end them. Number 2, we couldn't mention Anno 2070 without mentioning SimCity, the original city builder and ridiculous destruction maker. From Godzilla to tsunamis to tornadoes to Bowser in the Super Nintendo version, there's a near endless amount of ways at unleashing holy hell on your simulated city. And make no mistake, this is what attracted a lot of people to the series, myself included. And interestingly enough, it can lead you to find solace in the less destructive elements of the game. Sort of a bait and switch, but in a good way. And finally, number 1 is Epic Battle Simulator, which I think its name in no way betrays what it's going for. Epic Battle Simulator is just something else. It's tons and tons of individual units running at each other in hellish war scenarios, mass battles, and you can nuke them. Oh yeah, you had to have known that that was coming. Like, it seems like almost half the games on this list involve nuking in some way. Why not a fantasy game where you simulate massive epic battles like that in Lord of the Rings? Why not include nukes? And a quick bonus for you, something we can't do this video and not mention, it's Prototype 2, a game that features you as a mutant who is totally hellbent on revenge. You end up with a lot of forces against you, and you basically have to destroy all of them yourself. It's the definition of the kind of game we're talking about. And it's not perfect, but it's a fun one. What's your favorite game that you can cause massive destruction in? If it's on this list or not on this list, we want to hear from you in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. And if you're not subscribed, now would be a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is a subscription. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.